Welcome to another edition of Pittsburgh Sportsline at Olive Oil's Pizzeria and more right here in downtown Brookline. Got a great show for you tonight. This is 930 Brookline Boulevard. Come on out. Great pizza, great hoagies. Hold it. Great Italian ice. Thank you, Frank Fanera. There he is.
There's the man of the hour. I made some hoagie. Can I split up a little bit?
You are the man. This owner's the greatest. Frank Fanera. He just got on the camera.
Oh, thanks, man.
Wow. Hey, this show.
Show you my butt.
We won't talk Steelers, though.
No.
We'll do that later. Hey, great place up here. Dogs are walking by. People are coming by. They're ordering stuff. Come on out. Thanks for watching us on Comcast 7, only in Bethel Park. Verizon 32 in Bethel Park and the surrounding area. From Nemacolin all the way points in between to Cranberry and Wexford, downtown Pittsburgh. Anybody that has Verizon 32, check it out. This show will be rebroadcast Wednesday night, 7 o'clock to 8, and 4 other times on BPTV. So check it out and see it. Our Facebook page, Pittsburgh Sportsline, we got 6,766 likes. Thanks for watching our shows and liking our station. I'm proud that this old dog learned a few new tricks and promotes Facebook. And we'll put the show and all our links are on Pittsburgh Sportsline, so check that out. We also have a sponsor of our show, Skeets Lewandowski of Skeets Service Station. Right there past Trax Farm in Mineral Beach, you can see Skeets Service Station. I think I got his phone number here. I did memorize it, but I'm a little shaky on that. 724-478-3715. Give Skeets a call. He works on anything and everything that runs on gas. They even have a forge. They make knives. They make hooks for Smoking Jim to throw his clothes on the wall and have them hang. Makes all kind of metal works and things like that. So check it out. He sponsors What's on Your Mind. And we're going to start the show right now. Smoking Jim Frazier, what's on your mind?
Thanks, Al Levine, the talking machine. And if you want the green, you got to see Levine. Hey, big hand for Hall of Fame photographer Frank Fabus is in the house.
Yeah.
A warm welcome for model actress. The beautiful Snow is here. You know, winning football games ain't about the X's and the O's. It's about the Jimmy and the Joes. The Pittsburgh Steelers' problem is they're a very average team. And the only thing that can make them better if they had a young, mean Joe Green, Jack Lambert, Jack Ham, Andy Russell, Greg Lloyd, Donnie Shell, Rod Woodson, or Mel Blunt. Hey, listen, the problem is defensive coordinator Keith Butler couldn't spell cat if you spotted even a C and a T. When Keith Butler plays cover 3, every receiver runs free. Pittsburgh Steelers, cover 2 ain't for you. Bud Dupree is looking like a bust. Step on to it is looking like a bust. I call Artie Burns Buster because the Kansas City Chiefs treated Buster like the Indians treated Custer. Listen, the Pittsburgh Steelers are playing like it's 1969. Finally, the only thing that can help the Pittsburgh Steelers if they hire Bill Cowher as team president, because Bill Cowher can make the Pittsburgh Steelers great again.
Yeah, you my brother. Woo!
Is he done yet? Because I can't hear anything. What did he say? I just heard he just said they don't want to be great, just 8-8. That's all I'm hearing. Unbelievable. Smoking Jim's quite the performer. He's an NFL scout, Steelers scout who they don't listen to. But other than that, he's opinionated. And I won't do a disclaimer because people know him. They've seen all our shows, over 500 some TV shows, so you know how he is. For the couple guests that heard you, they liked it, Smoking Jim. I'm not as entertaining as he is, but what's on my mind is the Steelers. I bleed black and gold. I watch the Steelers. But I've been disappointed in their defense. They got rid of all the offensive coaches and kept the defensive coaches within reason. And it's just shocking, and it's sort of what we predicted would happen. when they're playing some of these good teams. So instead, a good friend of mine, Bob Ridgway, who's a painter, if you need somebody to paint, give him a call. He has a band called Shady Muggs. They play Southern rock and classic rock. They were down in Mineral Beach. Guess what? Skeet service station's about a half-mile away. But I didn't stop there. I stopped at the Tiki Bar. Saw Shady Muggs play from 2 to 6 o'clock. What a show. They did a fundraiser for a guy who works and was in a fire and has to get skin grafts, this Dave Sims, and a couple other people that work for him. So they raised, I think, a couple $1,000s doing that. So I was at a fundraiser trying to do something good. Then I heard through the grapevine, because people know I'm in sports, and they go, "Hey, did you hear the Steelers are down 21-0? I go, "No, I didn't hear it. You're the first to tell me." I go, "I guess it's great that they came here." The guys in the band said, "We might just shout it out and send messages. Forget watching the Steelers. Come see Shady Muggs." Well, I'm here to find out about the Steelers from Smoking Jim, and I heard enough. Let's go Steelers. Let's go Penguins. And the Buccos, who knows, at 500, who would have thunk that they'd still be at 500 this time of year after they got rid of Garrett Cole and Andrew McCutcheon? This got to be amazing. They'll probably have a parade like they did in Cleveland for the Pirates, because Smoking Jim will be promoting it. He's not a baseball guy. He got 1,200 free tickets this year to the Pirates. Saw 4 games. They won all 4 games. And he still won't tell me why they gave him tickets to give to others. I mean, he's a man of mystery. I still don't know his age. That's my brother from another mother. We're going to start the show right now. Want to introduce you to a neighbor of mine. He gave me a message and wrote a book. And he said, "Can I drop this off at your house or meet you in Bethel?" And I said, "Sure." He come by, I wasn't there, stuck the book in the door, wrote what you put in the cover there. Tell them.
So I wrote, "To Al Levine, the talking machine, loose leaf green tea reports rock." So, always a big fan of your morning.
Big fan.
Big fan of it's my morning ritual. Sorry, I just
That's why I'm holding the mic. We're good. I'll give you plenty of room.
All right.
Tell them your name.
My name is Vince Charmella, and I'm from Bethel Park, and I wrote a book called Jack McClellan, The Pride of Pittsburgh, which is the first and only biography of Pittsburgh's great boxing superstar from the Victorian period.
And a guest from our show and a good friend of mine, Douglas Kavanaugh, introduced me to this gentleman, calling him the great-great-grandson of the Pride of Pittsburgh. I didn't even know his first name. We never got to that. It was after some great fights at the Priory Hotel.
I loved them, yeah.
And they do great fights there all the time. Mike McSorley, another friend of ours and great boxing promoter, and just a great guy too.
The Congress Club is really bringing back the sport of boxing to Pittsburgh, and for somebody like me who loves boxing, this is the time to be living in the Steel City right now.
Well, we're calling it, there's a rise in boxing in the area. We're trying to ride that wave. The last 4 or 5 years we've been doing that.
I agree. It's, Pittsburgh has got such a rich history of sports. Football, baseball, hockey. Everybody, even if you're not a fan of the Pirates, we're Blair Clemente, or Mean Joe Green, but guys
or even Manny Sanguian.
I mean, you guys got like Billy Conn and Harry Greb. These guys were at one time huge, national superstars. Nobody's heard of them.
Sure. They get lost through history because if you don't see the books, like Douglas has written about boxing in Pittsburgh, has a site which is great because he puts this stuff up. I'm going to be promoting Jack McClellan,
thanks, brother.
the Pride of Pittsburgh. If I say it a couple more times, you understand.
Love it, man. It's like I said, he was Pittsburgh's very first boxing superstar, and at one time in history, all over the nation, his name was in sports sections. And through a series of misfortunes, he ran afoul with the law a few times.
I did read that, and you didn't hide anything. I just wanted to show this. If you can get a close-up of the book, Jeff. At the time, in the United States, they were taking the H, if you could hold that a second. Sure. They were taking the H off of any town that had an H in it in a burg. So all across the United States, they took the H, late 1890s, early 1900s. So this is actually how it was in the papers, the Pride of Pittsburgh with no H.
Yeah, he fought in that very unique window of Pittsburgh history from
Like about 20 some years.
1891 until 1911, and actually his very last fight was in April of 1911, and in July of 1911 is when it went back with the H.
Sure.
So he's really specific to that time frame in Pittsburgh. So there's one part of the book where he goes to Union Station, and if you go to Union Station today downtown, you'll notice that there is no H in Pittsburgh. You know?
Oh, okay. No, I've read about it because I worked at the newspaper and we saw different papers over the years, and there wouldn't be an H, and people had told me the story, and I'm a big history guy. You know, Pittsburgh was founded in 1758, so
Right.
can't beat that. I try to help my brother out. He doesn't tell me his age, but I tell him other people's ages. Like, I'm 62 years old. I don't know what he is, from 35 to 55.
Yeah, that's great, man. Yeah.
He's in that range.
Well, you're a
Now-
newspaper man, right?
Yeah.
This came from the newspaper. My tattoo right here. It's from 1903. It's when he fought Crocky Broyer, and you probably can comment more on this. You know, photographs were rather rare and expensive
Yes.
at that point, and so fights were drawn. So this was him throwing a left at Crocky, and Crocky was throwing a right. If you had the full
The full-
picture, but I had to get it as a tattoo, as a kind of a
Well,
congratulations.
it's catchy. No
Yeah.
pun intended, but it's catchy. No doubt. And tell them how you got interested in even writing this book, because that's fascinating to me.
Well, back in the dark ages, pre-internet, you
Yes.
know, when everything was word of mouth, you know, I always heard that my great-grandfather, it wasn't even the correct lineage, was a boxer, and he fought on barges, and he fought a champion. And
Imagine just saying he fought on barges. 'Cause
Yes.
working down in Pittsburgh, I saw the barges. I always thought they were at the water level.
Yeah.
Well, when they parked near the point, we looked in there, and you'd look down 20 feet. They were down below the surface because they weren't loaded up. The ones with coal were riding right with the river.
Well, it was an interesting time period, too, when they did fight, but I'll get back to that in a second. What happened was, you know, the internet finally came around, and I was able to dig up some information, but that really wasn't until 2014. And then it was like a series of events, like dominoes. You know,
Okay.
falling. I found
What
some-
happened?
I found some stuff on eBay. You know, one night I was really bored. I thought I'll look them up on, you know, online, and boom, there was some guy out in Wisconsin who had a few old pictures of them. So I thought, okay, cool. So I already doubled what I didn't know within one purchase of eBay. You know, and
That is super.
I know, love it.
That'll keep you going. That had to fire you
Oh, I
up.
loved it, man. I got it in the mail, you know, I tore it open, and then when I read everything, there was like, wow, there's major gaping holes in this story.
Sure.
So then I ran into Doug Kavanaugh on Facebook, you know, and his page.
What a good guy he
He
is.
super dude, super
Yeah.
stand-up guy. Ran into him, you know, we became fast friends. He had some stuff, I had some stuff he didn't have, so through just
on.
trading stuff.
Little
and-
trade-off.
And I think the most unique story is once I started really researching him, I signed up for newspapers.com. I don't know if you're familiar with the
Yeah.
website. Okay, I got some information off there. One thing I couldn't find is where he was buried. And I thought, well...
And
there's
it's
gotta-
local.
Yeah, and it's got to be somewhere. So I knew he wasn't Catholic, so I ruled out the Catholic cemeteries. And just through trial and error of calling different cemeteries, I found he was buried in Highwood Cemetery right off of Brighton Road. Here's where the story gets really weird, though. So they sent me a little card, and it had his last place of residence. I thought,
Yeah.
oh, okay, cool, I got his last place of residence. Maybe I'll go knock on the door, maybe somebody lives there, and maybe they have some more information.
Great maybes.
Yeah. So took the picture of the grave. He's buried in an unmarked grave. There was supposedly was a stone there at one time. It's now either
Sure.
missing or
Things happen over the years.
Yeah. So I went up to the house and it looked abandoned. So I walked up to the mailbox and I started rooting through and I saw like multiple different names. I'm like, okay, this is probably a rental property. You know what I mean? And I looked.
Good guess. You're an educated man.
Nobody came out with a shotgun and told me to get off their porch. You know. So-
You decide to leave.
well, so, you know, I looked around and next door there was a yard with a lot of Steelers stuff and I thought they can't be bad people, right? It was really nice, you know, and it looked like an elderly couple would have lived there, you know, lots of wind chimes.
Sure.
Walked up the stairs, had some paperwork saying what I was doing, knocked on the door. This elderly man answered the door and I said, hey, by chance, do you know who lives next door? They said, no, he's lived there for about a decade. I said,
Yeah.
oh, okay. I said, well, long shot here. I'm looking for any information about Jack McClellan. He was known as the pride of Pittsburgh. He was a boxer. And this little old lady comes up. She goes, my last name is McClellan. I said, seriously? And she goes, yeah, he was my grandfather. I'm like, hi, I'm his great-great-grandson. She was a distant relative who I've never known.
Wow.
And she had the
Now,
mother load. It was
This was in the book, so I had to
Yeah.
have you tell it. It's just great.
And her name is Shirley Quaccarusi, and she had stuff.
I couldn't pronounce that
Oh
last
no!
name.
It took me a couple days to kind of figure it out.
I thought it was Cacharucci or something like that.
Well, some of the information she had, I contacted the Library of Congress, hoping that they would have
Why
copies.
not? Yeah.
No. And some of those old newspapers, like the Pittsburgh Sun-Telegraph, never sent stuff there. So,
Right.
they just
Right.
exist in scrapbooks and in, flea market
Well,
bins.
the Post-Gazette has a library of a lot of that stuff on microfiche and
Oh,
things
really?
they did years and years ago. Because I'm a big history guy,
Mm-hmm.
and I'd look through papers and they go, you could go up in the library. I spent a couple hours numerous times
Oh, I can
looking
imagine.
back through history.
I'd love to
Because
do
there was
that.
the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette, then there were like 4 other papers around there. The Pittsburgh Gazette, Pittsburgh Post, Pittsburgh Press,
Right.
Sun-Telegraph, all these different newspapers.
Well, I mean, it was a fun journey going through the newspapers because it showed that journalism, really wasn't a solid. It didn't have the standards that it has today.
No.
A lot of stuff was word of
Well, I
mouth.
don't know. Just some of our standards have left us recently.
Yeah,
I don't want to get political, but
I was going down that road in my mind. I'm like, oh, don't go down that road. But yeah.
we're a family-friendly sports show.
Well, so researching some of the fights in this book, I found different results, and
I noticed there are a lot of draws and a lot of winners, then a loser on the same fight.
Yeah, so it was,
Multiple choice it was.
Yeah, I basically went with if there was 2 wins and 1 loss on 3 different articles, I went with whatever one had
majority.
The majority, yeah. So,
And I read your whole book.
oh, thank you, man.
I enjoyed it. The bibliography is a book in itself.
Yeah, I left no stone unturned on that one. So.
I like your style with that because I just like to go back through history and to see where you got the information.
Literally, you could reconstruct that book if you went to the bibliography, went to the very first, and went all the way to the
I
end.
went through it all
Yeah,
because of you. Because of you.
You can reconstruct it, man. It's Frankenstein's blueprints right there, But some of the interesting stuff that I found, at least for me, is being a fan of sports and a fan of the Victorian period, just how different things were back then. One of the things I thought was interesting was at points in time it was illegal to fight on Pittsburgh soil. So to get around that, they'd float a barge out in the river.
No, I know. I wondered why were they fighting in barges. That answered my question.
Yeah.
Jurisdiction.
So they would leave what's now where Stanwyck Street is right there. That was called Water Street, and that street that runs parallel to the river was called Ferry. It's got the number 5, whatever.
Yeah.
The barges would leave out of there. They'd float down the Neville Island, and on the back channel is where they would hold the fights because the Pittsburgh police it was out of their jurisdiction.
Sure. Well, there used to be a racetrack and everything down that way.
I've heard stories.
Yeah, from car races to horse races, they said way back in the day.
So
They did it because it was away from the city and they could just do their thing.
Oh, boxing was an outlaw sport. At different times you were fighting in barns, you were fighting in, get on barges, in opera houses. Trying to think of one example. Like Millville, down in Millville, the
Sure.
opera house was one of the biggest boxing facilities, and then all of a sudden the attitudes changed out in Philadelphia, and
Sure,
it bled
and it
over
swept its way here.
Yeah, and then and it went underground again. And like I said, the boxing community, when they fought out in barges, very limited numbers. One fight, he fought a 35-round, 2.5-hour fight to a draw.
Wow.
Which today, the endurance for that under the blazing sun.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Just the shape he was in, and wasn't he fighting at like 122 and then 126
Yeah,
or something? And
he was right in the featherweight.
I thought that was amazing in itself.
Yeah, small guy too. He really wasn't that big from what I understand. He was only
Yeah.
maybe 5'5".
There's the book again, Jack McClellan, The Pride of Pittsburgh.
That was awesome, and I enjoy writing it. And if you get a chance and if you want to pick it up,
I'd say let Smoke and Jim read it, but he rarely reads books. He's a great writer, and he writes for the New Pittsburgh Courier, but he doesn't read much.
Well,
I would read that.
I hope so, man. There's good stuff in there. He was a
He
pioneer.
tries not to lie right away to you. Oops, he did. Sorry, it happened.
No,
but it was a great read.
Thank you, man.
Because of all the information that you put in there and the insights from the sources that I got. I love that.
Okay.
Because you put it out there, and there's bad things. He got in a lot of legal trouble. He was actually married to 2 women at the same time, supposedly.
Maybe 3.
Yeah,
man.
and maybe had 2 to 4 kids. Mm-hmm. And he got in trouble with support payments. I've gone through a divorce, so I understand that. We won't go into too much conversation about that, but things happen and the laws changed, and he owed as much as $4 a week.
I know.
So imagine that.
And one of the things I was really proud with this book is
I did read.
I got him back to where he was supposed to be. He was always credited as a North Side fighter because he was Irish, and the Irish were predominantly the North Side.
But he was actually Hill District.
He was a Hill District fighter.
That's where I was born, at 105 Pride Street of the Hill District.
Okay.
It's underneath Mercy Hospital's emergency room.
Okay.
They took my family's property back in the late 60s, because I tell people of the darker persuasion that I don't care what color you are, because they tell me how bad they have it here. I go, I was born on Pride Street. They go, I know that. It's up in the hill down from Center Avenue.
Well, he was born right on Center Avenue.
See, that's why I mentioned that.
Right where Soho and Center cross over.
Understood.
And there's a school there now that was once his brother William McClellan's pool hall. His brother, his nephew, I don't know if you know Doc McClellan.
Yes.
That's him right there. And that's Abe Attell, the other big name in the book.
Sure.
So Doc McClellan, if you're familiar with him, he was the county coroner,
I'm
box
familiar
commissioner.
with him, right.
Yeah, that was his nephew.
Well, McClellans have a great history. That's why when I saw Jack McClellan, I'm wondering, is he related to him?
Yep, that's
Of
it.
course.
So it was a fun journey, and I think my favorite part of the book was reading about the 1904 World's Fair when he fought Abe Attell, and it was it's really kind of murky. It sounds like it was a title fight, but they
Sure.
didn't sign a contract. And
It always sounded like he was one step away from it.
yeah.
That's what I gathered from reading the book. It was always like he was fighting a champion or almost champion or just knocking at the door, but he was knocking people out and
It was
had some fights that were unbelievable.
It was almost a curse going against the champion. And once he got there and he beat the champion but didn't win the title, his career kind of tailspin right out.
Yeah,
And then,
it's sad, but there's so many stories like that in boxing.
Yeah.
It's almost a theme when you think about it.
Well, and like I said, that's why the whole point of this book was to resurrect, his name. There's Billy Conn fans still out there, Harry Greb fans, and all in between. And
Sure.
Jack was the very first boxer to bring modern boxing to Pittsburgh. Prior to him, we're going to the bare knuckles. His father was what they called a mill fighter.
Okay.
And they would go on Saturdays behind the mill, and they would basically fight bare knuckles. First person to bleed was out, So he is bridging that gap, and one of the things I thought was pretty interesting is he learned a really wicked left hook by pulling taffy. I mean, that's a weird story, So he was a candy man too. So
Go figure. And then where did he work, for the city or something? Or?
He worked basically just in boxing, and then later on after boxing, he worked for the city. What I thought, he worked.
I was getting into that.
I'm
getting
sorry
deeper.
about that.
Yeah. I'm not worried about earlier years. They were very explicit in what he was doing.
Yeah, he
boxing and getting into trouble.
Yeah,
and out of trouble.
He ended up working for the city, and the building he worked in was also the very first place he ever worked at when he was a boy. So he kind of came full circle. So it's in the book.
That's amazing. Yeah. No, you weaved a great tale.
Yeah,
a lot of details, very informative. I'm glad I read The Pride of Pittsburgh. Get it now. Where can they get this book?
It's available at Amazon.com, Barnes & Noble, and wherever finer books are sold.
All right.
And from me, if you want to buy from me.
How do they get a hold of you?
I have a Facebook author page. It's Vincent T. Charmella Author, or VTC Author at Facebook.
You want to spell your last name? Because
sure.
that translation's not going to work well.
Go ahead. CIA, and I'm not part of the CIA. CIARAMELLA. And I said it's Vincent T. Charmella, or VTC Author.
You'll find him. You'll see the smiling face. Look at that mustache, folks.
Well, thank you, man. What do they say?
Definitely.
It grows on you, right?
And thanks for bringing your wife, Erica, who's a fan of Pittsburgh Sportsline
Thank
and
you,
the Loose Leaf Green Tea Weather
Thanks,
Report.
brother, having me on. Thank you for having me on, sir. Take care of yourself, and good luck with the show.
Thank you very much, and this will be on Wednesday night, 7 o'clock to 8 o'clock on your local channel, either Verizon 32 or Comcast 7.
I will be on Verizon.
All right.
Smiling and profiling. Thank you again, brother.
Thank you.
All right.
Welcome
doing?
to the show.
Hey, great to be here.
I'll hold the mic since you're
Very nice to meet both you guys. Absolutely. Enjoying some food. Great time.
definitely. If you want a slice, you can start
Might have to
munching.
grab one after. I don't know about right now.
All right, we'll let you talk.
I
Tell
gotta
them your
focus.
name
Darren Miller.
and tell them what you do.
Long story short, I'm a charitable philanthropist for the Forever Fund at the UPMC Children's Hospital.
And you started that?
I did. I started that. I co-founded that with a friend of mine, Kathy, back in 2009 to honor her father, who had passed away from an open heart surgery, Anthony Frank Cartieri. And long story short, we raised money for the fund. It is goes toward infant cardiothoracic care. So it's financial.
Say that again.
Infant cardiothoracic care.
That's
So
a
these
mouthful.
It is. So it's children born with congenital heart issues, right? So
I had a friend that their daughter was born with some issues. They operated on the baby, was 3 months old, and lived.
absolutely.
She's still alive today, 18 years later.
You know, it's amazing. And the crazy thing is, most people don't realize at Children's Hospital, they don't just treat children. People that are born with heart conditions, and I'm just speaking about hearts because that's obviously what I know
Understand.
about working. Yeah. But there's actually adults that get treated at Children's Hospital. Most people
I didn't
don't
know
realize
that.
it. Yeah, because
Thanks for informing us.
Not that I'm a medical doctor, but it's interesting in the fact
Ask
that
Smoking Jim. He's a doctor of all trades.
So anyway, long story short, we help the families, and these are families that can't afford a small cost due to, let's say, prescription drug costs or just paying to travel to see their kid. Maybe it's a mortgage payment or a gas payment or something. Anything that can help these families, during the most difficult.
And how do they get a hold of that foundation?
It's through the Children's Hospital. So any of the caregivers there,
Forever Foundation.
Forever Fund. So
Forever
it's a fund.
Fund.
Yeah. So it's the fund underneath the Children's Hospital.
Okay.
But I started my own 501c3.
What is that?
That's called Team Forever. So there's a concept there, you know what I mean?
I'm noticing a trend.
So Team Forever is the 501c3 that essentially supports the fundraising arm at the Children's Hospital of Pittsburgh. So long story short, as an endurance athlete, starting back in roughly 2008, 2009, I got the bug to leverage endurance athletics to raise money for the people that are,
How did
struggling.
you even think of this?
Tell
me, first of all, I got to interrupt. Attila Domos, thanks you for introducing me to this gentleman. He will out-talk me tonight.
Long story short, I graduated college 2005. Some of us go through a dark time. I was kind of going through that dark time. I graduated in broadcast journalism, hop, skip, and a jump. Couldn't find a job in the field due to a couple different issues. But long story short, I graduated. I was about 275 pounds. Real big.
What are you now?
About $190 right now. Yeah.
You're looking good, lean and mean.
I'm trying.
And with the talking machine.
But long story short, I just wanted to get back into shape and wanted to just better myself.
Hold it. What do you do to stay in shape?
A lot of at the
Tell me a list.
Yeah, at the time.
I need a litany.
At the time, basically just running, So I started dating a girl who was a runner.
Like Forrest Gump?
Yeah, pretty
much.
much.
Just started to run.
I've been called that before. Yeah.
Well, I had to throw it out there.
I've actually gotten pulled over twice on the highways by the police, taken back
for running from them.
For running on the highway. No, because just
they're not allowed.
You're not allowed. Yeah, unfortunately. So. It is what it is. I feel a lot safer running on the berm on 79 than I do in some of these back roads with the little old ladies driving.
Well, just try running in Bethel Park without sidewalks.
Anyway, so yeah, get back to it. I was 275 pounds. I was just trying to find some way to better my life, And
I think you did.
Yeah, and I went out and I started. I always say endurance athletics changed my life, saved my life. I went out and I started running long distance. 3 months after I started running at that weight, I ran my first marathon, right? It was one of the most.
Hold it. Let me get this straight. At 275 pounds, you ran a marathon.
Absolutely, yeah.
How tall are you?
6'2". Yeah.
That is unbelievable.
Actually.
I got to ask, did you play sports?
I did. I grew up swimming and played lacrosse at Franklin Regional High School in Murraysville.
Okay.
But when I started running, I just got that feeling, that bug. I was like, I just feel good. I was
you
running
couldn't
the track.
stop.
Couldn't stop. So I ran my first marathon. Never ran a 5K. Never ran a 1 mile. Nothing like that.
You just blew past those.
Just went out. Ran my first marathon. But what it taught
Tell
me.
him how many miles it is, because he'll be amazed.
Well, a marathon is just 26.2 miles.
Wow. 26.2 and a half marathons, 13.1.
Yeah.
Just giving him some math, because he's weak on that. He went to Gateway. Out near
there
your
we go. There we go. That's my rival right there. But it's all good. We're friends.
No, he has this obsession with Gateway. They've recruited people. Who knows what they do.
Yeah.
So we'll go from there.
No, it's all good. So I ran my first marathon, but it was the day after that I just realized it was a turning point in my life. I realized I could do something I didn't think was possible. It's not that I didn't believe in myself, but I was like, what else?
It opened your eyes.
What else am I capable of? You know what I mean? It's like I just turned my addictive personality into endurance. So within about 10 months, I lost 80 pounds. Running, training for the Boston
What
Marathon.
were you eating?
Yeah.
What were you eating now? You stopped.
I was eating anything.
Well, your metabolism had to be kicked up.
Whenever you're running 50, 60, 100-mile weeks, trust me, you could eat whatever the hell you want, So
see, that's what he tells me.
So anyway, long story short, I went out, and I started running, and then after that Pittsburgh Marathon 2009, I went out and ran a 50-mile, what they call an ultra marathon. So it's any
50 miles.
It's any distance in excess of 26.
Well, you lost 80 pounds. You were quicker now.
I agree. I was a lot quicker.
And lighter.
Yeah, and lighter. Yeah.
Those shoes didn't wear out as much.
No, they didn't. And
you kept them at least a couple more weeks.
Yeah, I did. But when I did that, unfortunately, I busted up a bone in my foot. I fractured a metatarsal. So I'm walking around in one of those boots,
Wearing it out.
Yeah. I completed the race. I was stubborn. I started the race with a.
That's why you're on our show.
Yeah. And I completed 50 miles on a busted up foot. So needless to say, it was another one of those lessons in pain. But when I got done, I came back.
It's the old, it doesn't mind and I don't matter.
So I get back and I'm like, all right, now what? I got this 1 year of running under my belt.
Sure.
But I wanted to get out and I wanted to keep doing something. So I was reading a book by a young lady who had swam the English Channel, Lynn Cox, back in the 70s, actually. She set the English Channel record at 16 years old.
What even got you reading that book?
I was a swimmer growing up.
That's why I'm trying to get these roots out. I got it.
Absolutely. So I always loved the water, always loved swimming, but I never did open water.
Well, you got a nice size for a swimmer, long arms.
I don't know about that. I don't have the Michael Phelps body,
No.
frankly. I am inflexible. I'm just one of those guys that it's just,
Well,
I
you
don't
look
have the
like a
body for
lean,
it,
mean swimming machine, man.
I try.
Come on.
But anyway, long story short, I was reading this book and I was like, that's it. I'm going to try open water swimming. And just like how I threw myself into the marathon.
Where'd you go?
I threw myself into wanting to swim the English Channel. And I found a friend, this girl who I had referenced, Kathy. She wanted to do something on her dad, and I pitched the idea. I said, hey, pay for me to go over and swim the channel. We'll raise money in honor of your dad for a specific cause. So
you did a fundraiser.
That's how we co-founded the Forever Fund.
Wow.
And,
what did you raise that time?
We raised, within 10 months, we raised around $40,000 for the hospital.
That is awesome.
And long story short, I went and went over to the channel July of 2010 and started swimming at 4:04 in the morning. You have a boat that follows you.
Sure.
But essentially, you're in the water, right? So you start out of the water, you walk in, Speedo cap and goggles only. That water is no warmer than this water I just pulled out of that fridge behind me. But that's the biggest challenge we face is hypothermia. That water is only 58 degrees, 59 degrees. That's cold. That's very
cold, yeah.
Cold. So that's the biggest challenge you face. And you started swimming 12 hours.
It took you 12 hours.
12 hours, 4 minutes later, got out the other side. Something even more powerful is I married my wife, a San Diego native, cancer survivor, and she actually swam the channel 11 hours, 16 minutes, so she beat me, So,
You're kidding
those
me.
are the two plaques that we keep on our wall at home,
11,
we keep on the wall.
11
On
hours.
English Channel plaques, she beat me by 45, 50 minutes, So I'm proud of that. My wife's a tougher person than I am.
She's more stubborn than you are.
Very stubborn. Yeah, we are very stubborn people.
Wow. I understand that. I come from a stubborn family.
Yeah. So when I got back from the English Channel, again, it was kind of like now what? I did these runs. I went out. I swam the channel. Then I came across a challenge called the Ocean 7. And it was 7 iconic marathon swims around the world.
That's what Attila was talking to me about. Yeah. He was telling me, hey, Al, this guy's so crazy. He swims at night in oceans. And I go, what about sharks or anything? He goes, he just sees it's black. He doesn't see anything else.
Yeah. So after some of the English Channel, my second one I went after was the Catalina Channel off the coast of California. And that swim was particularly interesting because...
Is the water rough out there?
Well, it was kind of rough. It's not normally that bad out there, but we got started swimming at 12:08 in the morning. And mainly because a lot of these charter fishermen, they want to take people swimming at night, so they make their money at night and they make their money during the day. Not many people want to go fishing at midnight. What I mean?
Not normally.
So they take these crazy swimmer people.
Why not?
Yeah, why not? Right.
What were you fundraising now?
Oh, same thing. Still for the fund. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I'm just trying to clarify.
No, it's okay. Yeah, absolutely. So about a year later, and the crazy thing is, I actually found a sponsor, Pete Doshines with Trustmont Financial Group out of Greensburg. Their team was amazing, and I met him at a Rotary event talking about swimming the channel.
Great.
And I told him about this Ocean 7 I wanted to go after, and his team was...
He's all in.
His team was amazing. He was all in, so he funded every swim that I did. That were consecutive 6 after that.
You're kidding.
So every dollar we fundraised went back to the kids, and every dollar due to training and travel and all that stuff, his team took care of that. So it was amazing. But Catalina Channel, 9 hours, 15 minutes. It was about 25 miles in distance, 24 miles, a little shorter. And that one was particularly challenging because in the waters off California there are great whites.
Yes,
there's a lot of things,
I've heard that.
There's a lot of things swimming in that water that you just don't want to think about.
You come across any jellyfish or anything?
Not in that swim, But that swim was, we got it swimming at night. And that was jumping off the back of a fishing boat. at 12
just
o'clock at
going.
night and just going in pitch black, man. That's scary. That's an environment people just have no idea. That is just that.
And
that
you
is
just
a
knew
primal,
where to
that's a
where to
primal
go.
Fear, yeah. And you follow the boat, and it was kind of rough. And you got this boat, and a couple times I'm swimming, the waves are tossing me into the boat. I mean, it got pretty crazy. Out
Don't
there.
you get thirsty?
Oh yeah, you do. So you're fed every half hour from the boat. They throw essentially a bottle out to you on the end of a rope.
You got to catch it.
You're like a seal. You're feeding. You got to catch it, and you're just treading water, right? You can't get out. People always say, "Can you rest? Can you take a break?" No, you can't. And you don't want to stay in that water, treading water for any longer because it's cold.
It's cold.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you got to keep moving.
What about cramps?
It happens, but high carbohydrate. You get those different gels and goo and stuff like
Electrolytes
that. Yeah,
and things
electrolytes,
like that,
bananas,
yeah.
things like that to keep you going.
What about alkaline water? Mix it up with that.
You can do that too. Yeah, absolutely. But for the sake of time, I'm going to keep going through these different swims.
No, we got time. How's our
you got
time look?
22 minutes.
We got 22
You got plenty of
minutes,
time.
man.
Okay, all right.
We're good.
We still got a lot more of the story to go.
Guess what? You're a public speaker too.
I am. So I started a business, Every Breath a Gift. It's in honor of a friend of mine, Summer Sopka. She was an amazing athlete, scholar athlete out of Penn Trafford High School.
Okay.
Multiple time state collegiate champion diver. Went to Penn State with me. And, long story short, she lost her life to a tragic accident.
Oh, my, that's terrible.
Yeah, it was, not to go into too many details, but it was over a relationship. And there was violence involved, and it was just something that was very traumatic to me at one point. And that's what started a lot of this, you know what I mean? And it was to realize.
I always tell people, I like to find out about people what happens after bad things happen to
Absolutely,
them.
yeah.
Because everybody has bad things happen to them. Even Smoking Jim, he won't tell you, but there are bad things that have happened to him. And all of us. And to me, it's what you do afterwards.
Exactly, absolutely.
And that's why I'm a positive
everybody
guy.
goes through a dark time, and I struggle with a lot of things in my life, and everybody struggles.
How can you not?
Yeah, absolutely. And after losing my friend Summer and a buddy of mine, Jimmy, to a drug overdose, and a cousin of mine to a childhood disorder, it was just
a lot of different things.
There was a period in my life where I just, you go through a lot, but you realize how lucky you are to still be alive, right?
Well, every day I'm blessed, and I'm thankful.
Couldn't agree more.
Because we're allowed to do this stuff.
Yeah.
Right? And you're on Pittsburgh Sportsline telling
where
your
else would I
story.
rather be,
You can't be in a better place, no doubt. You still got 20 minutes at top.
Yeah.
How about that?
So,
with your hands.
But I always like to tell people, say, you know what? I after I lost Summer, I remember I came home and for whatever reason on this picture I had of her and I at the beach after we graduated high school, and it was just a really happy, joyous time in our life, right? And we were both laughing. I just loved this picture, and for whatever reason, I wrote on it, "Every breath a gift, never take it for granted." And I thought, you know what?
What a statement.
And you know what? After I swam the channel, I came home and I got asked by a lot of people, like local organizations, charitable churches, Boy Scout troops, high schools. They're like, "Hey, come and tell your story." And I started creating this profile.
Weren't you afraid to talk to the public?
Yeah, I was. I mean, you could tell. I mean, I was just terrified to have a microphone put in my face.
I understand that. That's why I'm holding back a little bit.
Yeah. But I realized that to me it was about challenging myself to see what I was capable of, but in turn to motivate and inspire other people. Right?
You're going to help others.
Exactly. So
don't you get a great feeling from doing that?
Yeah. So the theme Forever, right? Team Forever, Forever Fun. There's a band out there, Dropkick Murphys. They're an Irish punk band, and they had a song Forever, and it's a song.
That's your theme song.
Yeah, and it reminds me of my grandmother, right? Because my grandmother had a stroke while making pierogies to raise money for her church.
You're kidding me.
And the way I look at it is, my Polish grandmother, she. I can't even begin to tell you, but one of the most important things.
Give me a hint.
One of the most important things she taught me is, it doesn't matter what's in your pocketbook; it's how you impact the lives of those around you. And to me, God gave me the ability. God gave me the ability to push myself through long distance challenges, to push myself through so many pieces, so many levels of pain. I can't even try to explain.
Well, we're talking
that to
25 miles
in
these swims. Yeah. That's not your average swim in the pool.
No, it's not. And so to me, it's a matter of God gave me this ability to push myself. God gave people different abilities.
You can shine the light on what you're doing for others to do it too.
Exactly. So I'm not here to, when I speak, I don't inspire people to swim the channel. That's not my goal.
Go out and do the channel because of this guy. I'll inspire him. I'm inspired.
Trust me, it's not my it's not my plan. It's not my plan to inspire people to go out and do all these crazy things. But it's a matter of everybody has a gift, we don't know if you don't know what that gift is, you have to go after what you're passionate about in life, right? And to me, I was always passionate about sports, and I was always passionate about helping others, and I tied those two together.
That's great.
So after I came back and I did the English Channel, we continued to raise money, did Catalina. The third swim was between Molokai Island and Oahu in Hawaii.
You're kidding.
That was the furthest.
Now you're going out there.
That was the furthest at 28.5 miles. Biggest challenge out there was fighting the, there's a lot of things in the water out there. The tiger sharks.
Name a couple.
Tiger sharks can be aggressive. They always tell you, they say, when you want to get pulled, and I'm like, what are you talking about? They're like, well, the tiger sharks will circle you. The great whites come up from below. And I'm like, so
thank you very much.
These are the things I'm thinking about, But on top of that, the box jellyfish, which are a lethal species of jellyfish, they surface like 3 days per month, 10 days after the lunar cycle.
Get on.
And I was out there right during that time, So I remember sitting on Molokai Island, 2 o'clock in the morning. I can't sleep. My crew's sleeping. I had to get up in an hour to go down to the boat dock, get ready for my swim. And I see on the news there's these flashing warning signs, don't go in the water. Like, these things are the size of this bottle. I mean, they can take your life.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how serious it is, So the Portuguese man o' war are another type of jellyfish out there.
I've heard of them.
They can be pretty rough too. And
you've met them.
I've met them, yeah. So I started that swim at 3:15 in the morning. We started going. I didn't sleep for like 2 days prior, right? So I was already exhausted.
Sure.
And I just swam 28 miles to a small lighthouse on Oahu. Pitch black,
Wow.
jumped in the ocean, started going. I remember about an hour after I started swimming off the coast, I look at it, I see the sun starting to come up. My dad's on the boat. I got my crew on the boat. It was absolutely just stunning, beautiful out there,
Yeah.
right? You can imagine if you've never been to Hawaii.
I've been to Hawaii.
You've been to Hawaii, yeah.
Yeah.
So, and then all of a sudden it was just like wham, this right hook from Jack McClellan.
What
Catches
happened?
me right in the side.
They
here.
gotcha.
And basically, it's a Portuguese man of war, just gets me right in the face.
Pride of Pittsburgh.
Pride of Pittsburgh. And gets me right in the face, and it just feels like someone pours a hot acid right on your face, And I always say I got a free tattoo that day. But about
Nice positive outlook.
absolutely. Just keep going though.
I like how stubborn you are
yeah.
too.
After that day, we got about a little over 6 hours into that swim, and I remember them yelling at me. I was just done, man. I had taken 3 Portuguese man of war stings. My body was. I was feeling
shot.
I was feeling the toxins throughout my whole body, and it was one of those points where I'm like, I just didn't want to go any further.
Yeah.
Like I was done. My body
hit
was
the wall,
shot. I hit the
literally.
wall, literally. And I remember them yelling at me, "You're an hour under the record. You're not giving up. You're not giving." And I'm like, "Hell no, I'm not. I'm going to keep taking one stroke in front
You're
of
an
the other."
hour under the record.
Yeah. So I had 6 hours left. I couldn't even see Molokai. I couldn't see Oahu. The waves out there are huge,
Really?
And half the time I couldn't see my boat. It was
Any
like-
surfers?
No, not that far. Not that far out. Not that far out.
I'm just kidding.
But I just kept going. I kept going. And, it's just one of those times all about perseverance. You just keep putting one foot in front of another, one hand in front of another. At the end of the
just
day,
don't
you're
stop.
going to get there. Absolutely. And to me, it's like at those times, that's when I think about those families at the hospital, right? And I got these mothers, telling me stories about, how they're with their kids one minute, they never get a chance to hold their child. They have some type of congenital heart condition, and then the mothers talk about having to watch their child being wheeled away in a body bag.
Sure.
Are you telling me that was tough that day for me?
Yeah.
No, that was easy.
That's nothing.
That was easy.
That is nothing.
So there is nothing out there more difficult than what these families go through. Now, being a father of 2 beautiful children, I just can't even imagine.
Well,
it, right?
just like we sponsor the Joey Favis Childhood Cancer Foundation. Joey Favis died 8 years old just before his 9th birthday. Dreaded brain cancer, DIPG. We're trying to find cures for that.
Oh, it's-
Great event yesterday with a run, 5K run.
It's
A
wonderful.
lot of people showed up for that.
But that's what
so-
it's about. It's about doing whatever you can. You know
Yeah,
what I
that's
mean?
why they're
you
heroes.
don't have to go swim
They're
the channel.
heroes
Yeah,
to me. 'cause
absolutely.
I have 2
You know?
kids. I couldn't imagine losing one.
No.
Let alone they lost 2 kids.
People think you got to do something crazy to make an impact. And it has nothing to do with that. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, we all can do something, and that's the message that I try to bring out there. You don't. Have
I'm getting that message.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
All right, that's 3 oceans.
So that's 3 oceans, but we finished it. We came into. I'll tell you, finish that story. We came into a place called Sandy's Beach.
close it for me. Come
Sandy's
on.
Beach. I'm trying to. You're the one telling me to keep this longer. So.
Guess
But,
what? I can ask more questions.
Yeah, I'm sure you can. So we came into Sandy's Beach on Oahu, and it's known as Breakneck Beach. There's signs everywhere, no swimming. It's a big surf that crashes into 6 inches of water. So after 28 miles of dodging jellyfish, thinking of sharks, I come in and come up on a big surf,
What happened?
crash right into the beach, roll up on the sand, run up, crash. 12 hours, 12 minutes. Name of the charity. We beat the record by 47 minutes.
You're kidding.
And,
you beat the record after
And it was really funny. We came up and these lifeguards on Molokai, They go, "Where'd you swim from, brah?" And I'm like, "Molokai." They're like, well, you know, they're like, where are you from?
Nobody does
They're like,
that.
where are you from? I'm like, Pittsburgh. They're like, where's that at? You know? So, I mean,
It's out there.
Nobody can believe that somebody from like a landlocked area can
Here's
swim
where it
something.
is.
Yeah.
The pride of Pittsburgh again shows up.
So at the end of the day, that was 3, right?
I owed Vincent that.
That's keep pitching the book.
All right, the pride of Pittsburgh. I can be repetitive as anybody
I can tell.
and give you a little breath.
But the 4th one was from Spain to Morocco. So it was not only
So
between.
now you went to Europe.
Yeah, not
Again.
only between 2 countries, it was between 2 continents, which is pretty cool.
That is
But it
cool.
was actually the shortest of all the swims. And it's only about 9 or 10 miles, so it's not that far.
That is
And,
weak.
but it
Come
was,
on,
it
what
was,
happened
it was,
to
It
you?
was. I swam that swim with my friend Jen, Jamie. They're both from California. My buddy Oliver out of in England. And we went
So
over.
you have a team of swimmers, not
Yeah,
just
that
you.
one we actually went together, which was really cool.
That is
So,
great.
but it was really funny. We left Tarifa, southern Spain, 3 hours 44 minutes. We finish. We climb up on African soil. We give each other a hug. It was just an amazing experience, you know.
Yeah, that
But I
is.
always remember one story from that. We were about a mile off the coast, and we're swimming. And we look over, and all of a sudden, this boat pulls up next to us, and it looks like something out of one of those Navy SEAL commercials.
Sure.
These guys are dressed in black, armed with machine guns, and I'm like, oh my god, what is that? You know.
I believe in conspiracy theories.
I know. So thank God we had our passports that day, because it was actually the Moroccan narcotic police.
No way.
They were making sure we
They
weren't.
were checking to
they
see
were-
what you were smuggling.
They make sure we weren't smuggling drugs, you know. So I'm doing an
Wow.
interview with KDKA afterward, and with John Delano and Larry Richard. And Larry Richard said, "Where do you think that you're hiding the drugs in your speedos?" You know. So, needless to say, those are some small speedos. So we weren't smuggling too many drugs, you know. But that was funny. But that was a really cool swim. And the 5th swim though that was the most difficult for me, and that was between Honshu and Hokkaido in northern Japan.
You're kidding.
And that one was just the language barrier was a big challenge. My brother was there, which was really cool.
Okay.
And we flew into Tokyo, took the train up north, and we got out. And we expected about an 8-hour swim that day.
Yeah.
And,
What was
it turned out. Well, I'm getting to that. Jeez, man. Come on. So I'm telling a story here. Come on. So we got started that morning again, super early, and that swim was rough out there. And the key is again you got to start out of the water, right?
Okay.
So I swim in, and they're telling me like just touch the rock and go. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about getting out. It's rough, you know. I get out being stubborn, as you can tell,
Yes.
and I walk down this rock and I slip and fall. And I cut my both forearms, my shins, and I'm just bleeding.
You're all bloody.
I'm bleeding all over the place.
I know you're
And,
not quitting.
There's certain areas you shouldn't be. There's certain parts of the world you probably shouldn't be swimming in the water with blood coming out of you.
Sure.
Needless to say,
You know sharks like that.
I can tell, yeah.
Okay.
So got started in the dark, wearing flashy outfit, you know, bleeding all over the place. Just everything they tell you not to do. You know? So I started swimming, but you know what? I remember looking out over that dark, foreboding ocean. And I said, you know what? I may not get another shot here. You know, we had invested almost $15,000 into that
Really?
swim. And it's expensive to travel with a team across the world.
I can only imagine.
And the boat was $6,000 just to get it for the day. You know, it was crazy.
Wow.
So anyway, we start going, and Waters is beating me from both angles. And I got about 8 hours into that swim, and I'm like, how far am I? They're like 5 miles. 9 hours. How far am I? 5 miles. 10 hours. How far am I? 5 miles. So I'm trying to swim this way, and Mother Nature's pushing me that way.
You're kidding,
There's
so you're
there's
getting
nothing I can
pushed
do about
away.
it. So I got in my head. I'm like, you know what? They just want me to quit. I got this mantra going. I'm like, they want me to quit because it's
I'm
getting
not
dark.
quitting.
It's getting cold, and I'm not stopping. You know what I mean? I'm going to make them fish me out of this water.
And I'm stubborn.
So I was stubborn. So 11, 12, 13, 14 hours. 14 hours in, they're like, you got to break the tide. You got to start sprinting. So if you can imagine being physically just exhausted and someone yelling at you to start sprinting,
Sure.
that's a whole nother level. Wow. And so I just said, all right, I'm just giving it everything I had. And 15 hours, 55 minutes, we got into Hokkaido. Wow. So it basically, it was twice the journey of what we originally
You're
expected.
kidding. Unbelievable.
Next year.
I'm glad you got to finish that.
Me too.
2000.
He stopped eating his ice.
Man, I'm done doing it.
You know what? He tucked his Speedo in and he stopped eating. We're good over there.
2013 were the final year, and I had 2 swims left. And
Where'd you go?
the number 6 was the Cook Strait, New Zealand.
Get on.
So that was between the North and South Island, New Zealand, and it was crazy.
You're doing some traveling.
Yeah, we were 2 weeks before the swim. my buddy sends me a newspaper or an article on YouTube, and it's basically there was a swimmer off the coast. He was a film director going for a swim, and he was mauled by not one but 2 great whites.
2.
And he was killed 2 weeks prior to us going there. So right in the area that we were about to swim, there was a fatality just 2 weeks prior.
Oh, my
and
goodness.
so we kind of knew what was there, And a lot of what I talk about in my speeches is overcoming adversity and knowing that there are sharks
that's a
in our
great-
daily routine.
No pun
There are
intended, but
sharks
that's a
everywhere.
great adversity.
Sharks always trying to take you out, And at the end of the day, you control that environment.
That's what they do.
Exactly. And
And what happened?
Not necessarily. It's so rare, right? It's so rare,
Yeah,
but it
but-
is there. It is there,
Sure.
And so my buddy and I, we started swimming. Craig out of Colorado, one of my best friends, and we just started going. And we're swimming, and again, I got stuck in a tide right off the south coast.
You're kidding, pushing you away.
pushing us away again. I'm like, hell no, this is not happening again.
5 more miles.
5K, So we're
5 miles.
we're giving it everything we had, And about 10 hours and 42 minutes later, we finished.
You're
And
kidding.
it was pitch black. There was a rock wall. I couldn't even see the finish. I'm running up swimming, hit the wall. That was the one time where you couldn't get out. You just touched it, and that was it.
Then what do you do?
And then we swam back to the boat, and it was
How
crazy.
far away was the boat?
Well, no,
Nearby.
it couldn't get close,
Yeah.
But at the end
I'm
of the
just
day,
checking.
It was about 500
I'm trying to
yards
get
back.
logistics.
Yeah,
right.
yeah, it was about 500 yards back. But it's crazy. The one thing about that swim is actually if they see a great white, they can pull you out of the water, right?
Really?
And then you got 10 minutes, and then they let you go back in. Now, I don't know about you, but if you know there's great white circling, you probably,
not going
you probably
back
don't want
in.
to get back in the water. You know what I mean? But needless to
Because
say,
they are eating machines.
Needless to say, though, again, it's so rare. I don't even want to make it be like it is. It is a challenge, but at the end of the day, it's just such a rare. So for something like that to happen prior to us going, that was
Right.
pretty crazy.
Like you say, this doesn't happen all the time where they're coming after you.
No. And
They're there.
They're there. The final swim, number 7 to 7, was the North Channel, and that was between Northern Ireland and Scotland. If you travel to Northern Ireland, one thing you don't usually do is go swimming. The main reason for that is I put that challenge as the last one because that water there is only about 53 degrees.
That's colder than the rest.
That's colder. It's colder than any of them by far. That's colder than water coming out of a mountain stream. I mean, that's just brutal.
Really?
And to overcome that, some of the videos I have on my channel is, I'm sitting in a bath of ice, right? I have a 300-gallon cattle trough on my porch. I have a video of me splitting it with an axe in the middle of January in Pittsburgh, and I'm hauling out ice chunks this thick. Just sit in it, right? And I called it my hot tub. And at the end of the day, in January, February, I can do that. But the challenge in Pittsburgh is in the summertime, it's super hot here. That top layer of water in the rivers or any of these lakes is 75, 85 degrees. You know? So how do I condition
30
my
degrees
body?
warmer.
Yeah, than what I was going after.
I can still do math.
Yeah. So I went over there like 2 weeks prior, and I'm putting myself into a hypothermic condition day in, day out, in the morning and night, training for myself, training that swim. And
Did you ever do those Cairo tubes where they put you in?
I have.
Because I've been asked to do that.
I always tell people, I say, just
That's
go,
3 to
just go
5
sit,
minutes.
Just go sit in your creek. It's cold. It's cheaper. You know what I mean? And you'll have the same
Price is
effect.
right.
It'll have the same effect. But we left Northern Ireland, Donegal that day. It was early in the morning. Got swimming. Water was 53.5 degrees. And I always remember my boat pilot in his super thick Italian or Irish accent. He said, "Well, the faster you swim, the faster you're done." And I was like, "That's great
makes
advice.
sense.
That's great advice. Great advice. Keep going." So
Can't get any better advice than that.
at the end of the day, we finished in 11 hours, 16 minutes. Touched Scotland. Finished 7 for 7. First person in the world to do all 7 on the first try.
You're the first person.
Let
me shake your hand.
Ocean 7.
Ocean 7. But but at the end of the day, it's nothing to pat myself on the back because I'm looking at it from one point, and it's what is somebody from a landlocked area whose back's up against the wall can do, right? Anybody. So if I'm capable of doing this,
Anybody.
you're capable of doing anything. Anybody here could swim the Ocean 7, right? Anybody here could be a pro boxer. Anybody here can do what they want to do.
Did you say pro boxer?
Pro boxer.
The
exactly.
pride of Pittsburgh.
Pride of Pittsburgh.
My man, what a promo.
But that's what it comes down to, and it's but
He did it.
But at first you have to believe. And that's all it is,
It's mind over matter.
So you remember every breath a gift because if we wake up every day with the opportunity to live and we have that appreciation for life, and if you don't understand that, I always tell parents, they say, how do I get my kids to understand? All they do is play video games and social
Their
media.
thumbs are good.
Yeah, exactly. And I said, you know what? Take them down to the hospital. Show them a child who's their age that doesn't have any hair on their head and is going through a disease that they don't understand, right? And try to explain to your child that little Billy or little Sally, can't just go out and play every day and do the things that
they can't
do.
even argue with their mother.
Yeah, exactly.
Or father.
Exactly. Yeah. So like these kids are going through these challenges each and every day. So you know what? Nothing I've gone through is remotely comparable to what these kids have gone through, that my wife has gone through, or anybody with any kind of disease goes through. But
or even you without any disease has gone through.
Yeah.
You were poisoned.
I'm just an average Pittsburgher, broken down Pittsburgh boy. Come on.
Who's stubborn.
Who's stubborn. That's all it comes down to.
I respect that.
So I'm
I
capable,
salute you.
Yeah, thank you. So,
That's great. How's our time look? You're kidding.
yeah.
Can you talk for 3 more minutes?
3 more minutes. I think I got it.
I'm letting you out-talk me, man. This is a first for Pittsburgh Sportsline.
Yeah. So like I said, to me, it's just, and then after that, these past couple of years, I continue to raise money. We run a charitable swimming race every year.
Where?
Called the Three
Where?
Rivers
When?
Marathon Swim. We run it in September. Unfortunately, we had to cancel it last week because all the flooding. But that's a fundraiser
how
every year.
apropos.
Yeah, so I bring people from all over the world here to Pittsburgh. We do a 30K, 10K in each river, so 6.2 miles in each river. Start at the Point, out and back the Ohio, out and back the Mon, out and back the Allegheny.
Get on.
Average anywhere between 7 and 12 hours. People are swimming in the rivers.
That's
And,
awesome.
But we raise money again for the hospital. And but
Tell them how to get a hold of you again. 'Cause
Yeah, just
I'm getting old and
no,
I'm
it's very
forgetful.
simple. You just, my name is Darren Miller, DARREN-Miller.com. And it's my website. It's my own personal speaking business. You can read all about the Children's Hospital charity, the Forever Fund.
Smoking Jim did it. He's challenged, but he did it.
All the good work that we're doing. And at the end of the day, like I said, I just I encourage your audience to say, you know what? It's not about what you do. It's just about how you can take the gift that God gave you to help and benefit others. And that's what life's all about. So
I want to thank you very much.
hey, it's a pleasure being here.
I appreciate it.
Awesome to meet you guys.
And I offered you
Thank you.
pizza.
He got the brother handshake down too, man.
Absolutely. I'm going to take a beautiful
You,
slice of pizza.
you deserve it.
Olive Oil's Pizzeria right here.
Brookline
Beautiful downtown
Boulevard.
Brookline.
We're at downtown Brookline. There's hoagie too. You can stay and eat. We're gonna
Thank
get
you.
close.
I'll let you do your
No,
finish.
we can close here. We're fine here. Hold it. Let Frank up.
No.
We'll let Darren up here and eat.
I was asking Darren a question, that's all.
All right. I hope you enjoyed the show. Wow, what a wealth of knowledge I got there. That is just great.
Hey, you know what? It's all
Darren,
about Pittsburgh sports, baby.
hey, hence Pittsburgh Sportsline. This will be rebroadcast Wednesday night, 7 o'clock to 8. Hear Vincent, and you'll hear Darren talk. I'll talk the talking machine. It's a rare time, but it happens.
I tried my best.
You did your best. I'm honored. I hand it over. It's no problem. But I want to thank everybody for watching our show.
He's not on there.
It's not on. That's all right. We don't care what you put on there. We don't let it distract.
I'll put you on there.
Come on. We'll go for that. But it's been a great night at Olive Oil's Pizzeria. Come back. We'll be here October 8th. I already got guests lined up for that show already. Second Monday of October, we'll be here with Frank Finero. And you got to try his Italian ice. That watermelon, it was great to eat watermelon ice in front of my brother from another mother, Smoking Jim Frazier. I couldn't beat that. We've had too much fun, folks. Thanks for watching us. This is Al Levine, the Talking Machine, Smoking Jim Frazier, and our great guests. Please stay Joey strong.